because from the title you know that I'm telling the birth story of my recent baby. I wanted to hold him during the video, because then also if he gets upset I don't have to like get up and go get him and whatever. So I got him up. He was napping. I got him up, changed his diaper, changed his outfit because he leaked. His diaper leaked. And then of course he was hungry, but I was like, I'm just gonna start the video. So I'm currently holding my baby, but I'm covered because that's just what's comfortable for me in front of non-family members. But I'm very supportive of non-covered breastfeeding. It's just my comfort level. And I wanted to make sure I filmed this before my other children get home. So obviously I already said from the title, I'm going to tell you the birth story of my third son. As of the day I'm filming this, he is 2 weeks and 1 day old. I'll probably post this like in 1 week. So when I post this, he'll be 3 weeks, but the story is very fresh in my mind, which I'm glad to be able to tell it while it's still fresh. Although my brain is still very foggy, so who knows, it'll probably be just as disorganized as my last 2 birth stories. This is a birth story. Birth, for some people might be uncomfortable, might be, if it's not a subject you're interested in, there's going to be a lot of gross things that I discuss, so click away if you're not into that. I'm an open book. I'm very, I think unfiltered, or I don't know, I just kind of tell the story, point blank how it went. So, if you're not interested in a birth story, then you're not going to be interested in this video. So just as a warning, it's going to sound maybe gross to you if you're not interested in it. So that's up to you whether you want to watch or not. But I just figured I'd give you that warning out there. I don't make stuff sound, I don't know. I just say everything. So I'm pretty unfiltered. So like I said, this is my third son. So I have given birth myself twice before this. And as a little backstory, my first son was born 3 days before his due date. I had a hospital birth with an epidural, which partly failed. And then I had a really rough recovery. Just like a lot of like tears and stitches. So I will link, I'll probably just in my description box put the last 2 birth stories. I have ASMR videos on them. And then my second son, my most previous birth before this, he was born 10 days after my due date at a birthing center. He had a, for the most part, water birth. I had to get out at the very end because he was stuck, but and I had a pretty easy recovery from that. So that was like the 2 births I had. So for this birth, I was planning on doing another birthing center birth. It's a different birthing center from the other one I had, because I've moved states since having children. So what a birthing center is, if you don't know, is like, I would describe it as halfway between a hospital birth and a home birth. You're not in a hospital, you're using midwives as opposed to an obstetrician. I like always mess that word up, an OBGYN. You use midwives instead, but it's not a home birth. You're not doing it in your own home. You're in a birthing center. So the birthing center is set up where there's like essentially like bedroom suites. So there's like a bed, there's a tub if you want to do a water birth, and then they have like all sorts of things to help you, like yoga balls and mats and I don't know, swings to help with like labor contractions, whatever. So they have a lot of stuff there to support you that you might not have in your own home. In addition to, they have some emergency supplies that I don't think all midwives have access to if they're at your house giving birth. So that made me a little bit more comfortable. Oops, I'm sorry for the background noise. My fridge have like nurses with you as well, like registered nurses. All the midwives at the center I went to are also nurses, like registered nurses, I believe. So you have like more than, I don't know, it's just like a little more comforting to me than the idea of home birth. But yeah, I would say it's like kind of in between. And then obviously, like if something were to go wrong or something was concerning or worrisome, they would just send me to the hospital to give birth there instead. If anything was risky or a potential to be risky. And I think that they would do that with home birth too. So that's just kind of a backstory on what the heck a birthing center is if you don't know. So I used midwives to help me deliver my baby, and nurses obviously as well, because they help a lot too. So so to start, I'm not gonna go super in depth into my pregnancy because I actually did talk about it a ton. So if you're new to my channel and you like my videos or my style of videos or my whispering or whatever, you can just go through my old videos and I talk about it a lot. So some of you might be sick of hearing about it. I don't need to repeat myself. But my pregnancy was smooth, no risks. I'm a low risk pregnancy or person, or yeah, it's a low risk pregnancy, I guess is what you could call it. So I can do some, deliver in a birthing center. Because if you're high risk, they won't let you deliver there. They want you to be in the hospital with everything you might possibly need. So let's jump to the start of my labor. So with my last son, I had prodromal labor, which is like you get Braxton Hicks, but they're painful and you think you're going into labor. But it's like your body's preparing for labor, and it lasted a few weeks, I think, with my second son. With this one, I had a lot of Braxton Hicks, but they were not painful. They never really turned into prodromal labor until I hit 40 weeks. So on my due date, I had started to really be able to tell I was having Braxton Hicks. I wouldn't call them painful, but they were uncomfortable, and I could tell I was having them. So for me, the difference was when I was having Braxton Hicks, which are like practice contractions, I could only tell I was having them if I lost, like, at shortness of breath, or if I like pushed on my stomach and it was like contracted, and I knew, I was like, oh, I guess I'm having a contraction right now. Oops. So once I hit my due date, I did start. Oops, buddy. Once I hit my due date, I did start to feel the contractions. Like, I didn't, it was obvious to me that I was having them extremely intermittent. I would have one every few hours, like nothing really to show signs of going into labor. And then I would try to do things like walk to kind of keep them going, but they didn't really stick around. It was not that big of a deal. I guess one thing I should note is starting at 36 weeks, we tried to do like everything I could to prepare for labor. I mean, I could have tried harder, but we definitely kind of, like, I was eating dates daily. I was kind of sometimes drinking raspberry leaf tea. We were having sex frequently, because that's a good preparation. And you can kind of Google like birth prep and like why you do all of these things. But we also were doing spinning baby exercises, so to get the baby into the most, like, the optimal position. And my babies don't want to be in that position. So I would do these exercises, or like, they're really just stretches. If you think of, they're almost like yoga positions, to try and get the baby to rotate towards the right position. He's always head down. They're just not on the correct. You want the baby to be on the left side, and my babies like to be on the right side, and you want them to be facing back, and my babies like to face forward. So the whole, as far as they could tell, he was always kind of in an position. So we pretty much every single day we're doing all sorts of exercises and stretches and things to try and get the baby in the right position. I also was going to a chiropractor once a week to try and keep my body like as aligned as possible. And I do think my labor went smoother and better because of those preparations. I'll never know for sure. Maybe it's just because it's my third, but I feel pretty like happy that I did those things. And if I had another child, I would do them again. Because when your baby's not in the right position, it really slows down your labor, which I learned the hard way with my first and a little bit with my second, but we were able to speed things up with my second, with the knowledge of the midwives and trying to turn him. So back to 40 weeks. So 40 weeks, move a little bit. Okay. So. Once I had 40 weeks, I would say I started prodromal labor. I think, I don't know these things for sure, but I would have to guess I was in prodromal labor. Then after 2 days, yes, are you hungry, Papa? So after 2 days, so 40 weeks and 2 days, here we get to the gross part, lost my mucus plug. And when I say lost, it didn't come out in one whole thing, which is usually doesn't happen. It came out like slowly for like 2 days. So basically that's just a plug between like the sac and your cervix, I think. I'm not sure. Anyways, at some point that comes out. Some people it doesn't come out till labor. Some people it comes out like a week before labor. But usually if it comes out, your labor is going to be within a few days to a week. However, it is able to regenerate and so it's possible, it can grow back, to protect your baby, which then in that case means nothing. So I tried not to get my hopes up, especially knowing my second son came 10 days late. I was like, ugh, I could be here another week or 2. So I'm just I tried so hard not to get my hopes up, but honestly, with every contraction, with every sign, you do get your hopes up because you're just ready to be done and you're ready to see your baby and you just don't know what to expect. So I started losing that plug at 40 weeks and 2 days. So let's talk days of the week. This was Monday. So Monday I started to lose the plug. And then I had an appointment on Tuesday. I told them about the plug, that I was starting to lose the plug. They're like, okay, cool. The philosophy of midwives is not to really mess with anything, to try and let you go naturally. So even at my 40-week appointment, they did not want to strip my membranes. They didn't want to do anything to induce. They wanted to wait till 41 weeks. And then if I hit 41 weeks, we'd hit the ground running and do every single thing we could do to induce. So those were my expectations. I kind of expected to go to 41 weeks because I did last time. I just think it's my genetic makeup. I personally, myself, for my mom, was born at 43 weeks. So I think it's definitely a little bit of a genetic thing. So at that appointment, she just kind of, reaffirmed what we were doing, keep doing what you're doing. That's really all you can do right now. And so we just kept doing everything, they called it homework, eat your dates, have sex, do these stretches, all that. Try to walk. I needed to walk. I tried to walk daily at this point. So then, like I said, for 2 days, I was losing my mucus plug, and I would just have on and off contractions that did not hurt. At 40 weeks and 3 days, so Tuesday night through the night, I was having contractions that actually, to me, hit the pain scale. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of notable, the fact that it is painful. Not very painful, but a little bit. So I would rate the contractions I had, and I was having them maybe once every hour. So again, this is Tuesday into Wednesday. Or no, this is Monday into Tuesday. Yes, Monday into Tuesday. I was having contractions, but I would rate them a 1 out of 10 pain scale. So not really first started to lose my blood. Then Tuesday night into Wednesday is when same thing. I had contractions like once every hour, but they were a lot more painful. They went up to like maybe a 3 out of 10. Then when I woke up in the morning and got up, nothing really happened. Or I was continuing to have them, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, so I was continuing to have them. So that morning, and mind you, I'm doing my, I'm working this whole time, like doing my desk job. Like I have a 9 to 5 job. So, Wednesday morning, I am having these contractions very inconsistently. They're a little painful, not a lot, like I said, maybe a 3. They kind of go down to like a 1 or 2 in the morning. So we do these stretches. So like I said, we were doing these stretches to get the baby into a better position, because once the baby can get into a better position, they can start labor. So we did like a round of those exercises, and then I went and started a meeting at 9 a.m. It was an internal meeting with just a few coworkers. I had to demo something for them, like demonstrate an online product for them. And so I was basically like talking the whole hour. I was like leading the meeting, but again, it was internal, so it was like, I mean, these people are basically like, they are my friends. They know I'm in labor. They know I'm past my due date. And I did mention to them, I said, yeah, I'm having contractions, but we'll see. During this 1 hour meeting, oh my goodness, this was one of the hardest meetings I've ever had, because I could barely focus, but I still had to lead the meeting. But I was having contractions. I probably had 8, maybe 8 during the 1 hour meeting. And 3 of them I had to say, hang on 1 second, and I had to like lean over and breathe through the contraction, and then went back to speaking, and they knew what was going on, and it was kind of funny, but I was like, holy cow, this is hard to concentrate. So I wanted to track the contractions during the meeting, but I could not focus between giving the meeting and like breathing through the contractions. I was like, it's too much. So once the meeting ended at 10 a.m., I started tracking my contractions. They seemed consistently between 5 to 8 minutes, and I would have rated them at like maybe a 3 on the pain scale. So they kept up like this, and then they kind of started to get really inconsistent. So I would have one a minute apart, and then I'd have one 10 minutes apart, and then 5 minutes, and then 8, and then whatever. So they were pretty inconsistent, but they were consistently painful at like a level 3, like I said. And then they kind of ramped up to maybe a 4. At this point, I really figured I was in early labor. Early labor could last 1 to 2 to maybe even 3 days. So I was like, well, I think this is early labor. I'll probably have the baby by the weekend, but I don't know what that means. It could be today. I kind of was thinking it was going to be that day. But it could be tomorrow or Friday. I'm not sure. So, eventually, like, it was up to maybe like a level 4 pain. And so I would just kind of, at this point, I made my desk a standing desk. I put a bunch of boxes and had my laptop up high so I could stand, and I was just the whole time swaying and bouncing and just trying to like keep my body up, standing and like moving a little bit. So I would work, I would go do stuff for the house, and at this point we're all kind of thinking like, I'm probably going to go into labor, like it's probably going to happen today or tomorrow. So I'm trying to do, last minute house things and also work. Like I'll go check some emails, then I went and did some laundry, then I did some emails, and then I did, some dishes. My husband was trying to fit in all his things that he wanted to get done before the baby. So we were just trying to keep busy. I had a dance party with my other sons. I was like really getting excited and hopeful. I was like, okay, like things are consistent. The contractions aren't going away. I'm like really excited. So I texted the midwives just give them a heads up, like, hey, they are on average between 5 and 8 minutes. They're staying at like a pain level of 3 to 4, but they're not going away. And they're like, okay, well, just keep us updated. So work ends, the work day ends. I finish work at 3 p.m. Work day ends, and I'm like, you know what? Nothing was speeding painful and like coming on, but like nothing was like ramping up. So I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna go into labor today or tonight, I might as well try to rest. I lay down for a nap. I took a 30-minute nap and I did not notice a single contraction during that 30 minutes. I was so upset because I thought my labor stopped. I was really upset. So my labor at this point essentially stalled and I felt dumb. Alright, well, a little break time to meet the baby. Here he is. I'm gonna just sit here and burp him a little. Because he just ate. Alright, here we go. Oops, buddy. Okay. So my labor stalled out at like 3 to 4 p.m. and I felt really frustrated and embarrassed because he's very verbal. Okay, you're gonna hear baby coos and sounds, I guess. So my labor stalled out at 3 p.m. and I was so upset because I had already texted the midwives and I thought this was a false alarm. This had happened with my second son where like I started I thought I started labor and then a few hours would pass and then it would go away and it was very frustrating. And then with both of them, I would go through labor and I would think that I was really far along and then they'd be like, oh yeah, you're like half a centimeter, like out of the 10. And I would think like, oh, I have to be at least 4. And so with both of my last labors, like I just thought like, well, maybe I'm just like a big baby, like maybe I'm a wimp, maybe I'm just like my pain tolerance is low, like because I always think I'm way further along than I am. And it's very disappointing and it's very discouraging and it's frustrating. You know, you spend 10 months. I mean, this is 48 weeks is 10 months. I'm 10 months pregnant. Like, not quite, but, you know, it's so frustrating. Like, to think you're so close and then to, like, think you're going into labor that day and then to have it stop. I was really, really frustrated. But once I got up from the nap, I had contractions again and they were still at a 3 or 4. But they, again, were very inconsistent, like 10 minutes apart, 15 minutes apart. And so I was really, really upset. I was so angry, honestly, because I was thinking, not only am I past my due date, but now I have to be in pain. And the previous 2 nights, I had contractions that were painful enough to wake me up. So I was up every hour the previous 2 nights in pain, like going through the contractions. So I was like, how many more nights of no sleep am I going to get before I have this baby? Like, I'm not going to have any energy to go through labor. Like, I was so frustrated. Like, how much pain, you know, how many days of pain do I have to go through? I was really angry because I was like, what if I'm having these contractions that are decently painful for 3 days? Like, I'm going to be so exhausted. There's no break. And of course, just like, you know, you get wrapped up in your own head. I'm like, worst case scenario, I'm just like so upset. So I decide, I'm like, maybe by tracking the contractions too closely, I got in my own head and I'm just like, I somehow managed to like stall labor because I was too like hyper focused on tracking them. So I was like, I'm not tracking them. I deleted all the contractions in my app. I turned off my phone. I didn't turn off my phone, but I like put my phone down and I was like, I'm not tracking the contractions until I think they're really close, until they get like really painful. I'm like, I'm not tracking these anymore because I think I'm messing with my own head. So I stopped tracking. So this is now 4 p.m. and I'm like, okay, time to make dinner. So I'm making dinner, stopping every few minutes for contractions. You're so cute. So I make dinner, and honestly, the whole time this is happening, I'm like really, really upset. Like, just my brain is going 50 miles an hour, just so mad. So like, how could this? I'm so mad, you know, thinking all the thoughts like that I'm irritated about over and over. I saw was so upset. My mom was like, you seem really upset. And I was like, I am. Like just mad. I was just so irritated and like let down. And I was like, I'm just not having the baby today. Like, I can't even explain how upset I was. To just have that like false hope all day. And like, and honestly, it's tiring. Like, contractions hurt. They're tiring. Like, they're exhausting. And I just was like, why did I go through all that today for nothing? Like, and it's not for nothing. Your body's doing something, but I was just in such a bad mood. So I make dinner, it took a long time because I kept having contractions, and then we eat dinner, and they're still consistent. I don't know the timing of part of them because I stopped tracking, but they were still always consistently, like a pain scale of like 3 to 4 out of 10. So, let's see, it's approaching bedtime. The kids are wound up, the 2 older kids. Like, they are just causing issues for everybody. I think they knew that I was, like, going through something, completely acting up, impossible to get to bed, like, just frustrating for everybody, like, and I was just, like, I was so frustrated because their behavior on top of me, like, having false labor, what I thought was false labor, and honestly, like, they were acting up because of what I was going through. I think they knew, like, I was gonna have the baby soon, and it was just very stressful for them, and it just added so much stress to the situation. So, we finally got my older son to sleep, and my younger one, he's 2, he's almost 3, but he was, like, wide awake, like, refusing to go to sleep. So my contractions start getting a little bit stronger, but I'm not really, like, I'm just breathing through them. I'm not really thinking about them. So this is probably 9 o'clock. I get in the shower to help with pain relief. And just like, I was like, I don't know, I just felt like showering. I'm kind of wanting to pass time. I'm upset, and showers just always make me feel better. It's like my favorite form of self-care. And so I am in the shower, and they're getting more painful. Maybe they're at a 5 at this point. Again, this is like 9 o'clock at night, I think. So they start to get more painful, and I'm like, okay, these are ramping up, but like, I just didn't think anything of it. I probably took a long shower, like, until I ran out of hot water. So like, maybe 9:30 I get out, like, get ready for bed, and it's a very slow I like can barely get into my PJs because it's like, it seemed like every few minutes I was having contractions. And so now we're approaching probably 10 o'clock, and I'm like trying to get changed for bed, and I can't. It's like hard because I keep having contractions, and they are like, I'm starting to be audible at this point where I'm like I'm like moaning to breathe through the pain. Like, I can't really talk through them. I'm just like moaning through them, and my husband is like, this seems way more than like just a 4. Like, you seem like you're in full-blown labor right now. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably not that far along because I never am as far along as I think. And he's like, well, how far apart are they? And I said, I don't know. I stopped tracking. And he's like, okay, well, you need to track so we know what to tell the midwives. And I said, I want to track, but I can't focus on tracking. And I said, I'll text them. And so one thing to know more specifically about this birthing center is that it's not staffed 24/7. The midwives on call, like, they are allowed to be at their homes, and then if you go into labor, they'll go meet you at the center. So, as far as I knew, the birthing center was locked up, and like, no one was in there. So I was like, well, they have to agree to go. Like, I can't just show up. I can't tell them I'm going. They have to say, like, you can come. I mean, hospitals are kind of similar, but like, if you show up, they'll take you because they're there. And my last birthing center was like that too. They always had someone there 24/7. So if I just showed up, at least somebody would be there. Whereas this is like, no, like, it's locked. Like, no one's there to help you. Like, you need to agree with the midwives to go in. So I was all nervous that they were gonna say, like, I was nervous that I didn't want to over exaggerate how I was feeling. But sometimes I tend to question how I'm feeling because I do get a little dramatic. And so I'm like, am I really feeling this way? Am I as far along as I think I am? So I was not that easy. So I started texting them, and they're like, well, how far apart are the contractions? And I said, I don't know. I haven't tracked. I'm trying to track, but I just can't focus enough to track. And so me and my husband are like doing some mild bickering. He eventually, like, I'm in enough pain, and my 2-year-old is like running circles around me, like upset because he knows I'm upset. And my husband's like jumps out of bed. He's like, I'm getting changed. Like, you are, like, we have to go. Like, you seem really far along. Like, we gotta go. Because I was like moaning through the contractions, not talking. Like, it seemed like I was in a lot of pain. And I just kept questioning how far along I was. I was like, I just don't know. And at this point, you know, it's 10 o'clock at night. These people are, you know, getting ready for bed. And I don't want to over-exaggerate and get them to go and then show up and then be like, you're not really that far along. But at the same time, I don't want to have my baby in the car. So eventually, I just throw my phone at my husband and I go, text them for me, because I was shaking. I was like, full-blown shaking. And I only ever remember shaking during transition for my previous tubes. Transition is usually the last 2 centimeters. I don't actually think I was in transition at this point, but it was starting to feel like it, and then I got a little scared. I was like, okay, I don't know why I'm shaking. I couldn't tell if I was like working myself up into, like, what if it was more painful than it was, like what if I was like making myself feel more pain than I am? Do you know what I mean? Like, hopeful thinking, like I'm trying to make myself go into labor. Like, what if this is all a mind game? What if the second we get there, labor stops? Like, I was overthinking everything. And my husband is like, we're going, tell them we're coming, tell them they need to take us. Like, you're in full blown, like, we gotta go. Like, he was kind of panicked, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, and so we're kind of like bickering a little bit. He's like, tell them you have to go. And I'm like, yeah, but like they are basically waiting for like me to not be able to text. And he's like, but then you'll be having the baby. Like, that's too far along. Like, so eventually he does text them, and he's like, this is her husband. She's shaking too much to be able to text. So they said, okay, why don't you come in now? It sounds like you're far enough along. Come in. So then we, you know, get my father-in-law to come over to watch the kids. Tell my mother, because I invited my mother-in-law and my mother for the birth, so they start getting ready. We start getting ready. My 2-year-old is like freaking out, like he doesn't know what's going on. He's crying. He's like, why is everyone upset? Like, why is everyone rushing? He's just kind of like running in circles, like not knowing what to do with himself. Like, he knows something is crazy's going on, and I felt really bad that I had to leave him while he was awake. So we finally get out the door at like 11. Yeah, we're able to get out the door at 11, because again, I'm trying to get changed and I can't, because like I have to like get on the floor for every contraction and like breathe through it, and I'm moaning through it. I'm like, Urgh. Like, I can't really explain it because I'm whispering, but I'm like moaning through the contractions, like kind of like in a movie. I'm not yelling, but I'm moaning. I'm like, like it hurts. And even my mom, like, while we were texting the midwives before they gave us the go-ahead, my mom saw me have a contraction, and she's like, yeah, I hope they let you go in soon, because you seem really far along. So finally we leave at 11. We get there at 11:30. The ride there, oh my gosh, I'm sure it was very entertaining for my husband. I kind of was a little entertained. I started to kind of go out of it a little bit because of the pain of like the whole ride there. I'm like, the first half of the ride, the first 15 minutes, we have the heated seat on. I'm feeling pretty good. I don't like the contractions ease up a little, and I'm like, oh no. Like, did my labor stop? Or like it slowed down? Like, great, it was all in my head. I'm freaking out. Like, it's all in my head. The second half of the ride, oh my gosh, I started moaning, like moaning. I don't know how to describe it, but like I'm almost doing like tribal chants. I'm like, I can do this, I can do this. It's almost embarrassing to talk about because it's such an intimate experience, but like, I'm like, I've got this, like just rocking back and forth in the car, like trying to breathe through the contractions. And on our way, my husband's like, are you able to track your contractions so that you have something to tell them when you get there? And I'm like, I can't really focus on them. And he's like, well, I can hit the button. And I'm like, I can't, like, I just couldn't focus. I just couldn't, man, I'm like, I just need to, like, I couldn't really talk to him. I was like, I just need to, like, breathe through them. So, I'm like, well, we'll count how many I have and divide it by 30 minutes, and then we'll tell him that's how many I had in the 30 minutes. So halfway through, he's like, how many do you think you've had? Because I feel like you've had a lot. And I'm like, I have no idea, because it seemed like they were just one after another, which again is a sign of transition, which I was like, I'm not going to have the baby in this car. I'm not going to have the baby in this car. I'm not going to have the baby in this car. And so I get, what was I saying? Oh, like even during the car, like he would ask, my husband asked me a question, and I would sing him the answer, because I was just like in constant pain. I was like, yes, no, like I would like just like sing or like chant everything I was saying to him. I'm like, not right now. I think he did say, he's like, there were a few times I wanted to laugh a little, because it seemed like, because it was funny, like it just is like so crazy. And it was like kind of a very movie moment where like we're driving to the hospital and I'm like in labor, like, this is painful. So we get there at 11:30, and I basically run in, and when we walk up to the door, I can see, because they're waiting at the door with the doors open, ready for me, and they text me like, are you ready? Like, do you need a wheelchair? And I said no, and I was like, great. Like, if I need a wheelchair, that means I would be further along. I feel like I was so scared of being not far enough along to like have dragged them out of bed, but I don't know, I just, like, I did feel far along. I was so nervous to get in there and then be like, you're barely in labor, and to be like kind of irritated with me, like, why did you make us get out of bed for this? So I walk up to them, and I can see them whisper to each other, and their faces drop, like, well, fudge, like, she's not really that far into labor, because I was like running in, I was like, hi, like, get me inside, please. So I think I looked like not really that much in labor, but I think what happened was, like, in between contractions, I felt okay, and so I was like, okay, I'm running in before I have another contraction. So we get into the room, and I have a few more contractions, and they're just kind of silent. Sorry, my battery's low. So, they just are silent. They let me breathe through. I'm like, again, moaning through the contractions, like, to get through the pain. So they're like, okay, once you feel ready, why don't you go ahead and we'll check your dilation and see how far along you are. So I get into my little birthing gown, which I have a what's in my birth bag video. So I get in that gown because I'm thinking, like, I'm going to be in labor for a while. I wanted a water birth, but I didn't think I would be far enough along to get into the tub yet, like, because you usually do that at the end. And so they finally, like, and I'm having so many contractions, and like they are trying to check me, but I keep having contractions. I'm like, okay, like, just get through your contraction first, then we'll check you. We don't want to check you during your contraction. So finally they're able to check me, and I'm fully expecting them to say like 4 centimeters or something, because I felt further than that, but I'm always wrong. And she's like, okay, you're about 8 centimeters, and you're fully effaced, and you're fully whatever, all the things, like, you're almost ready to go, but you're at 8 centimeters. And I was like, oh wow, like, I thought you were gonna say like 4, and they're like, no, like, you're at 8. Like, once they said 8, I knew that it would be an hour or 2, and I'm like, okay, we're almost there. And I was shocked. I was like, I cannot believe I just got to 8 centimeters, essentially on my own, to be honest. Like, I thought I would get more support, like physical support, managing the contractions by my husband, but throughout the day we were just so busy. I just kind of was doing everything on my own, and it was fine. It worked. But I had a lot more support with my last birth, and this birth was different in that, like, I feel like I kind of just did it alone, but it worked out really well. Like, it was manageable. So then she says, so you're at 8 centimeters, do you want to get in the tub now? And I'm like, yes, please, like, because warm water is definitely a pain reliever. Not as much at 8 centimeters as I'd wished, but it's okay. So I get in the tub and I start to have more contractions. So I get there at 11:30. By the time they checked me, it was probably 11:40. I'm probably in the tub by like 11:45 maybe. So I'm in the tub, having contractions, just, moaning through them, just trying to deal with them. I kept thinking about using nitrous oxide, but I was almost scared to ask. Like, I don't know why. I just like was afraid they would like try to convince me not to, and then I'd feel dumb for asking or whatever. So I kind of kept waiting, but I was like, I think I'm gonna want nitrous oxide because I did with my last, and it helped a lot. But I just kind of kept, working through the contractions. So then finally, let's see. My mother-in-law sent me notes. Let me actually look at them real quick. Okay. Oh, look at this cutie pie. Oh my god, he's so cute. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm biased. He's my kid, but is he not so cute? Oh my gosh. Hi, buddy. Okay. So I checked my notes. My mother-in-law, so my mom and my mother-in-law were there, and obviously my husband. So my mother-in-law kind of sat back, but she was taking notes the whole time of like the timeline of everything, like when they checked me, how far along I was. So I had probably got in the tub at like 11:40, 11:45. So like I did have 20 minutes of contractions, and then I started to push at 12:05 a.m. So 12:05 a.m. I started to push. And when I say push, I mean like, because I always thought of pushing as like you push the baby out, like they're at the end and you push them out. Well, no, I could tell that I was pushing him down the canal. So like, he wasn't crowning or anything, but I was pushing him through the canal, through my vagina, I guess. Like, I don't know what else to say. But like through the canal to get to the point of crowning. Like to then push the baby out. So at 12:05, I started that. At some point during that, I felt my water break. So my water did not break until like 10 minutes before he was born. Like the very, very end. So I'm pushing, and this again is in the tub. So like I'm planning a water birth. So 12:05 to 12:17 or whatever. So like for 10 minutes essentially, I'm pushing him through the canal. And then at 12:17 I said, she like wrote this down, I'm so happy she did. So 12:17 I said, I think I can feel him right there. Meaning I thought he was crowning. And they said, okay, so like just wait. So then they coached me, they got me in a better position, like a position to be able to birth him. And oh, they were so fantastic. She was just like really stern with me because I was kind of losing focus, and she's just like, everything she said was so good. Like anytime I had a contraction, she's like, don't run from it, use it, don't run from it, push through it. Sorry, he looks like he's at a funky angle, like he's like eating weird. You're a good boy. He's so cute. Anyways, so like everything she said was so helpful. And she got me in a good position at 12:17. And so then I could tell that his head was like he was crowning, which means his head's like about to come out. So then I pushed for 5 minutes, and his body, like eventually, like his head and his body came out. So he was born. So he was born at 12:22 a.m. in a water birth. So I did not end up using the nitrous oxide, which surprised me. All in all, everything I went through was less painful than my first two, in which I did use pain medication, like either an epidural or nitrous oxide. And that's mind-blowing to me, that both those births felt more painful than this one. I'm just like confused by it, but like I'll take it. And I didn't feel high. I felt a little high with my second, who I used nitrous oxide for, and I wasn't sure. I'm sorry, I gotta have you back a little bit, buddy. I'm not holding you comfortably. So I wasn't sure if the nitrous oxide gave me a high or if I was just like high from all the pain and like the adrenaline of birth, but like I was fully aware the entire birth, which I did not feel that way with my first two, so that was really interesting, and it was very cool. Like I got in this mode, and I was like, I'm getting this baby out as soon as I freaking can, and I was like so determined, just like really, really focused, and like I didn't really use my husband, I didn't use my mom like I did the first two times. Like it was just me, and I was like, get this baby out. Like I was like done. I was like, I'm getting him out as soon as I can. So technically I pushed for like 15 minutes, which I guess always, when you say push, it always includes the canal, but I never realized that my first two births. I thought I was pushing like his head out the whole time, but it turns out I wasn't. So I essentially pushed for 15 minutes. So he was born at 12:22 a.m. They put him on my chest. They did use some oxygen to kind of give him a boost for breathing. He ended up breathing fine. So then I got out of the tub holding him. I walked to the bed, and on the bed I delivered the placenta. And then they check the placenta and they show it to you, and they show you, okay, this was the side that was facing you, this was the side that fed him, this is whatever. So then they put the placenta in a bag and leave it next to you. It sounds so funny, but they leave the placenta in a bag next to you, and he stays attached to the umbilical cord and like does skin to skin with you, and the plan is to do that for an hour, but they left him on me for like 2 hours, or like 2.5 hours, until they finally came in and they like they cut the cord. My husband cut the cord, they weighed him, they measured him, they did some like initial newborn tests on him, like just all the things to make sure he's healthy. And then for me, they just kept checking me, made sure I peed. What else do I have to do? Made sure I ate. And then after 4 hours, they discharged us. So I got to the center at 11:30 p.m. He was born at 12:22 a.m. And then we left at 4:20 a.m. We got home at 5 a.m. So we literally left at 11 and got home at 5. We were gone for 6 hours. Crazy to think about, because like when you're in a hospital, you stay 3 days, 2 or 3 days. So, and even with my other son at a birthing center, they let us stay overnight because of the timing. But this center was like, no, yeah, 4 hours, you're good, you're leaving. I was like, okay, bye. It's just crazy. Like my son went to bed, and then when we came home at 5 a.m. and had a baby with us. It's just crazy how fast the end went. And to think that I was bickering with my husband about when to go in. If he had listened to me, I would have had the baby in the car. So I'm glad he was like, no, we're going, we gotta go, you have to go, like you're further along than you think, we gotta go. So I'm really glad that he really pushed the issue and was like, no, let's go. And you know, that we left when we did, because he was born 50 minutes after getting to the birthing center. So little guy, oh my goodness. I'm happy to say I had no tears. So I'm really happy about that. Very smooth recovery so far. I think even like the afterbirth cramps that you get didn't hurt as bad as they did with my last two. So it's just interesting how much everything went smoother this time. Could just be because it's my third. Like the more times your body goes through it, the easier it gets. That's how it's been for me, at least. Should I tell them your name? Oh, so like because they let you go home so early, you have to keep going back for like all the newborn screenings, make sure he's okay. So then we went back the next day, as in Friday, for like a newborn screening, and then we went back on Monday, and then we went back again on the next Friday. So like So this is Mackenzie Killian. It's like Irish. In the U.S., Mackenzie's is more used for girls, but traditionally it is a boy's name. Mackenzie Killian. And I call him sometimes a nickname Mac. Mac is a nickname. My maiden name has Mac in it, so that is kind of like an ode to my maiden name because I chose to change my name when I got married. But this is little Mackenzie. He was 7 pounds 11 ounces, and he was 20.5 inches. He's very cute. He's a very good baby. So let's see, he was 7 pounds 11 ounces. So it took him, and then babies lose weight after they're born. So it took him like a little over a week to go back to birth weight, which I think is pretty good. The goal is 2 weeks, so it took him a little over a week. Yesterday he was 8 pounds 3 ounces, so he's gaining pretty well. I'm happy with that. He's a good eater. He's a decent sleeper. His big brothers are completely obsessed with him. They're always asking to hold him. Especially the 2-year-old. He's just like, he's so cute. He's so cute. He's so tiny, and he's like the most gentle ever with him. It's so freaking cute. The second he was born, I just felt like the biggest relief ever. Like, I don't like pregnancy. I just feel so, like, sad and not great when I'm pregnant. And, like, literally the second he was born, I was like, oh, I feel amazing. I'm so happy to not be pregnant. Like, I'm sure there's, like, an adrenaline rush after giving birth that you get. But it was just crazy how I immediately felt better. And I do recall Colleen Ballinger on YouTube. She said the same thing, and I think she had pregnancy depression, and she's just like, the second he was born, I was like, oh, I feel better already. Like, it's crazy how fast I felt better, and I feel great now. Like, he's only 2 weeks old, but I'm like riding the high from his birth, like so much happier than I was, pregnant. So I'm glad he's here. He's just staring me down. He's just like, I'm glad he's here. I hope you enjoyed this story. I love birth stories so much. But anyways, so if you've had a kid before and you're having another and you're nervous, I do really think for most people, like, each one gets easier. Like, you're doing a little bit more. It goes a little faster. So if you're pregnant right now, good luck with everything. If you're trying to get pregnant right now, I will pray for you. And, I know how rough of a journey that is and how frustrating and, disappointing it can be. So I hope you get what you want soon. But I am very, 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 very grateful for what I have. And I am not taking it for granted at all. I'm soaking up and appreciating every single second of it, and I'm just so elated. And if you've had a baby and you do not feel elated, please know that is also okay and normal. I did not feel this way with my first. It actually took me like a year to feel connected to my firstborn. So, and I would get so annoyed and frustrated when I would see people like me now posting like, I'm so happy, I'm so overjoyed, I'm so elated, and I would just think like, oh, they're lying. They have to be lying because I don't feel that way at all. But it's just how I was feeling. it's just